What's up, Ram Nation? This is Ryan Keating, Director of Sports Information at Texas Wesleyan. We're back here with Cameron Irvine and Jessica Ransom, head coach of volleyball, for another edition of RamSports.net's Ram Talk. How's it going, Jessica?
Hey, doing pretty well. Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Jessica Ransom, our sixth all-time coach. She was hired in 2018, and in 2 seasons already has 50 wins and two NAIA tournament appearances. This past season, the team won their first match since 2005 at the NAIA final site in Sioux City, Iowa. Jessica, talk a little bit about the success you've had so far early in the season, early in your career at Texas Wesleyan, and what do you see going forward?
Yeah, so it's exciting to be a part of Texas Wesleyan volleyball, and I am just so thankful for the people that are around me, my colleagues, my administration at Texas Wesleyan, my assistant coaches, Amber J and Coach Rob, our strength and conditioning coach, and just for having phenomenal players in our program. I take very little credit for the past 2 years. We're hopefully on our way to building something great, but we've really just been so lucky with the people around us and supporting us in our program.
Cool. So, tell me what do you think is your opinion on how athletics will look when we try to resume our normal sports lives?
I think your guess is as good as mine. I hope for things to find a normalcy soon. Even if we have to have a plan to slowly get back into it, we would be fully supportive of that as well. Continuing to have a bit of a social distance as far as maybe 10 people or fewer, so we would just break up and do smaller group activities, so 2 or 3 different sessions in the weight room versus one, or 2 to 3 different sessions in pool workouts versus one, and then just obviously continue to take sanitary measures and wipe everything down and all of those things. So whatever the plan is moving forward, we are willing to comply if that means getting back in the gym. So
A lot of success so far early on in your college career. What type of culture do you try to build in the Texas Wesleyan women's volleyball program?
I think first and foremost, we try to make it like a second family. We spend more time with each other during season and really throughout the school year than our girls do back home with their own families. And so I think it's important to have that atmosphere, that culture where we trust each other, we can rely on each other. And I also want a competitive program. I want our girls to compete in every single thing they do, whether it's in the classroom, competing for the best grades, in the weight room, competing for, with the people next to them, and then on the court as well. So I just want, driven, competitive young women that rely on each other like a family.
What do you see as Texas Wesleyan athletics competitive advantage? What sets Texas Wesleyan athletics apart from other NAIA institutions?
I think first and foremost, just having a rich culture. Our athletic programs have been around for many, many decades, and we've had a lot of success in a variety of different sports. And so I think having that as a foundation really helps us. I think location is another thing, being right in the middle of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Compared to other schools that don't have as much around them, I think we can really attract some of the best students and athletes just from our campus location alone.
Coach, what's your biggest joy? When you're on the sidelines coaching. What kind of gets your blood flowing? Maybe more than other things. And then what's your pet peeve? What drives you crazy about just the game or the flow or the when the team's not doing well? What are those highs and lows for you?
Definitely. I think, that I think the highs are any coach's highs when you see your players, which are like your children, your little sisters, having success. When I see that light bulb go off or that aha moment, and they successfully do something we've been working in on practice or something we've talked about and really focused on, and then that can translate to a game for them, and they look at us and they're like, coach, did you see that? I think those are the best moments for me, is just seeing their faces light up and seeing them feel accomplished for something. And lows, I think, I'm super competitive. I hate losing. I think, anyone who plays a sport is that way. Maybe just when the game is taken out of our control, if that makes sense, outside, out things that are outside of our control maybe force the game in a direction. I'm not blaming anyone, but bad calls or things that just aren't consistent in that realm of the game that takes it out of our hands.
We've seen a lot of coaches at Texas Wesleyan and outside Texas Wesleyan, and I have to say, Coach, for an athlete who needs or likes a coach with composure, that's you. I've never seen a coach with more composure, at least outwardly anyway, ever. Is that a philosophy of yours in terms of like something that you really try to do or pride yourself on doing for the athletes as sort of a coaching style, or does it just come naturally to you? Is that kind of your personality? How would you describe that?
Well, if you had a heart monitor on me and you could see the way my brain was going and my insides, it would be the complete opposite. So that's good that you guys see it a different way. But, I think that's just in my nature. I think if I can have composure, then that translates on the court to the girls. If they're looking at me, I'm not going crazy and spastic and yelling. They're looking at me and just saying like, hey, we got this. Everything's under control. And so, I try to portray how I want them to feel and play. Just stay cool, calm, and collected. Just keep fighting, just keep pushing, and it'll happen. So, again, probably very contrary to what's going on internally. But I do think that that's what I try to portray, just to keep a level head through it all.
When were you first aware that you wanted volleyball to be a huge part of your life? Was there a light bulb moment for you?
Actually, there was, and it goes way back into high school, and I specifically remember it was the spring/summer between my sophomore and junior years, again in high school, and it was just like the light bulb clicked. As a player, I finally, just found my abilities, if you will, and I was like, oh, volleyball's fun, and I really like volleyball, and I can do something with it. And I think from then on, I just always knew that volleyball would play a part in my life. I didn't know in what capacity, but I knew I wanted to be around it for many, many years, and then everything else just kind of fell into my lap up to this point. So I'm happy that light bulb went off very, very long ago.
Okay, Coach, talk us through the process of getting a high school senior student athlete ready to compete in both the classroom and the sports arena, from first contact to recruit to full status.
Yeah, so it's a long process when we all have to be in it, working together to get everyone fully ready to go. And I think, it starts with recruiting, just talking and getting to know the student athletes as people, to make sure it's a good fit, that, Texas Wesleyan, with or without volleyball, is a good place for them to be. And that our system is kind of what fits them. And then, then we have to make sure the academic side of it's taken care of, that their SAT, ACT scores are submitted, their transcripts are sent in, getting them through, obviously, admissions through Texas Wesleyan, as well as the eligibility center. That's a big thing, is just getting lots of paperwork sent in a million directions to make sure it's on file and they're ready to go. And then integrating them on the volleyball side of things, getting them up for camps and open gyms during the summer, and meeting the girls so that they're ready to go on day one in August, and we can just kind of hit the ground running. And so, again, just making sure they're admitted into Texas Wesleyan, academics are taken care of, and then they're ready to step foot on the volleyball court as well.
What is what is your favorite moment so far in your coaching career at Texas Wesleyan? Do you have one?
Um, I look back and am fond on a lot of memories. I think up until now, I'd have to say what sticks out the most is our comeback win against Houston Tilliston in the opening round. Anyone who saw that game, that went from probably my lowest coaching moment of life to probably the highest one. So from going and losing set 2 in the fashion that we did, I had to explain numerous times, like, no, that wasn't a typo. That was 25-5. And then coming back and winning 3 straight sets. I mean, just anyone who knows volleyball knows that very rarely happens, especially losing like you did in set 2. And then to come back the way that the girls did, I mean, I just couldn't have asked to be a part of anything better.
Yeah, such a dramatic match that was, and it wasn't just a regular season game too. It had to be your play in to go to the final site, the national tournament final site, and Houston Tillerton came out just on fire.
Absolutely.
And took those first 2 sets. And to be honest, Coach, I was sitting there on the scores table and saying, "Man, well, I guess this is it." And then all of a sudden, something clicked. Man, what a great match. The Sid Richardson Center was electric that day. Such a big moment in Texas Wesleyan volleyball history, not just in your coaching career, but yeah, it was such a great moment. Let's switch a little focus and talk about your playing career for a little bit. You played at Midwestern State University, graduated there, was a Lone Star Conference Offensive Player of the Week for a couple weeks. You led or was a part of a team that made its first ever postseason berth in 2007. Talk about one of your favorite moments from your playing career.
I mean, I think you hit on it, was earning a bid to the national tournament. I believe that was our junior year. We just had just a phenomenal season, and I met some of my best friends playing volleyball at Midwestern State University. We're all still pretty close to this day. Many of us are coaches at different levels of volleyball throughout the state of Texas, and so I think to be a part of the first time that Midwestern State volleyball did that, and knowing that we contributed to something bigger than ourselves, it was just a fun ride as a student athlete. And to be honest, getting to now do it on the coaching side and experience a little bit of that, it's fun to see it from both perspectives. And so I will always look back on that as probably my best memory, as a student athlete, and then, having it from the coach's perspective too makes it nice.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, anytime you can go into postseason play, the energy level it ramps up, right?
It's definitely different, and I think no matter what, you always get a little bit nervous for games, but I think it takes it to a whole nother level when it's kind of win or go home, and so it does add a different dimension to it. So.
All right, we've been playing this game with a couple of our coaches in the interviews we've had so far. You're quarantined with 3 other Texas Wesleyan faculty or staff. Who are they?
Oh man, that's tough. Oh gosh. I mean, I would say first, Amber J, our assistant for Texas Wesleyan volleyball. We're funny. I think together we think we're funny. Anyways, I'm sure other people don't think we're quite as funny, but we'll bust out in a song and dance and jokes just nonstop. And so we work really well with each other and off of each other. I don't know. I mean, I would say maybe Josh Gibbs, because he's funny. He always can crack a joke and has something smart to say, so he would be entertaining nonetheless. And who else? You know who else I would say, which he's on our staff, but Coach Rob, our strength and conditioning coach, so that I wouldn't sit around all day. He would get me up off of the couch and make me work out. So I would say those three probably.
You went entertainment and exercise route. So Josh went very strategic. He had Eddie Rodriguez, so he could fix anything that broke.
Oh,
He had Ray Bedford, our head coach of wrestling, so that he could be protection. And and then he picked one of his a good friend, Stacia, who's an English teacher at Texas Wesleyan, so that he could be entertained. So it's cool. It's cool that you went with your crew. And I know you haven't been at Texas Wesleyan in a long time, so maybe you haven't had the chance to get to know a lot of people, but hopefully we won't stay in this quarantine atmosphere too much longer.
right.
You talked about Amber J, your assistant. Talk about what she brings to the table, her personalities and her strongest traits.
Yeah, so again, I think the thing with us is we just work really well together. You know, we have a lot of the same philosophies and mindsets when it comes to on the court training, and so I trust her completely, you know, with all things volleyball, all things on the court. I trust that I can look at her and ask her a question and she gives me an honest answer, whether it's, you know, agreeing with me or disagreeing with me. But that, you know, that's what you need is, you know, are people around you that aren't afraid, you know, to voice their opinion and say what needs to be done. And so I'm very appreciative of that. And then, you know, just off the court stuff, she just really knows how to make those connections and build relationships with the girls. And so, you know, that's very important with an assistant coach to, you know, kind of be that buffer and have the ability to build those relationships. And so we are very blessed to have her as a part of our program.
Coach, back on a more light-hearted note, if you only had one show to binge for the rest of time, what would it be?
That's tough. You know, I've learned through this quarantine, I am not a huge binge watcher like a lot of people are. I have found one show on Netflix that I like, and I still am not even through season 3. Like I watch 1 to 2 at a time, and then that's it. So my attention span just isn't that long. But I would say probably Big Brother. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but right now it only comes on in the summer. But if it came on year round, I would be in front of the TV because I just like the strategic, competitive aspect of it, and then just, you know, I enjoy watching people. So just seeing them 24/7 randomly in a house with strangers. That's one of my favorite TV shows, and I think I could actually binge watch that. So.
What's the Netflix show for your recommendation out there?
Okay, but y'all can't think I'm crazy, but it's How to Get Away with Murder. I am
Oh yeah.
obsessed with that show, which I love. You know, the whole courtroom atmosphere. And it was like I've always been super interested in that, and then it just adds obviously whole other twist to it. You know, but I watched the first episode and I was hooked. So.
Coach, how would you describe just being a volleyball coach in this time, you know, that we're in right now? I mean, the connection that athletics brings to students, to, you know, to fans, to coaches, it's a big part of our life, and I don't know that we realized how much big a part of our lives it was until we stopped having it. What has that just been like for you personally? The just not being around the team, is how difficult is that?
Yeah, you know, I agree. I think as humans, there are a lot of things we kind of take for granted, you know, and don't realize how important they are until they're not around anymore. And so, you know, you don't realize how much of a routine you actually have, you know, as far as getting up and going to work and having practice and going to the weight room. And while it can seem inconvenient on some days when you're tired, you know, and you'd rather be doing other things, now when you don't have it, it's almost like you would give anything to wake up at 5 a.m. to go and run lines, you know, which is it's crazy because that doesn't sound fun at all. But now that it's gone, it's crazy how much our girls have said that they miss it, you know. And so I also think just having those relationships, having those friends and people you consider family around, and just going and grabbing lunch with, the girls grabbing lunch with each other, or just stopping by our office, between classes. It's definitely, there's a void when you don't have those people around, and understanding that it's much different than just summer vacation, when you're in the middle of March and April and you don't have it. It's very weird, but I'm hoping that this will allow us to appreciate everything more. So, when things do get back to normal and we're back in the gym, we definitely don't take anything for granted. They push a little bit harder on those lines, or push a little bit harder in the weight room, and just, take every touch on the volleyball and on the volleyball court, just appreciate it a little bit more. So
When we get back to normal, the first thing you're going to do is what?
Well, my personal life, the first thing I'm going to go do is eat chips and queso at a Mexican restaurant. That's what I'm going to do, because that's what I probably miss the most. As far as the coaching side of things, probably just hit a ball, just hit a ball as hard as I can. Just because, I don't have the room or the need to do that right now. And so, it'll be weird picking up a volleyball again for everyone, or any sport, because use it or lose it. So if you haven't been doing it, and it's a lot harder for volleyball, you can't just play pickup games or go out in the lawn, the driveway. You can pass to yourself, but it's not the same. And so it'll definitely be interesting picking up a volleyball again.
Coach, how can a prospect or recruit get in touch with your office?
Yeah, so they can call my office phone. Like if you leave a voicemail, I can check it through my cell phone and my laptop. I check my email every single day. So sending me an email, ransom@texwest.edu, I check that constantly, so I'm always available to respond to emails as well.
Coach Ransom's phone number, if you need to call and leave a message, is 817-531-4850. Coach, is your program on any social media? How can kids follow you there?
Yes, we do. We have a Twitter, and I believe it's at Texas West Volleyball. That's TXWES Volleyball. And we've been, continuing to post different things we're doing. We have Zoom calls, and we'll post that, or, following the things that you guys are doing, with the polls and stuff. And we've had a few birthday shout outs recently. And so we're trying to continue to post and keep everyone updated with what we're up to. So.
Sounds great. Hey, thanks again for stopping by and talking to us today. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you next time, Ram Nation. Have a good one.